Elsewhere in college basketball, North Carolina has hired their next head basketball coach. Michael Malone will take over a month after the university fired Hubert Davis after 5 seasons, following their loss to VCU in the tournament after leading by, remember, 19 points. Malone spent 12 seasons as an NBA head coach and notably won the 2023 NBA championship with the Denver Nuggets. Malone has not coached at the Division I level since 2001 when he was an assistant coach at Manhattan. This is his first position as a collegiate head coach. Relatively speaking, this kind of came out of nowhere, it feels like. Now, his daughter does play volleyball at UNC, so there is a tie there. How surprising was this hire, having Michael Malone be there?
I was surprised because it was outside the family. It's North Carolina. You know, I was mentioning Kenny Smith, and I don't have any regrets about that because I know how connected Kenny Smith is to youth basketball throughout the country. And I believe that when you're going up against John Schreier and Duke, you got to be able to recruit. Make no mistake about it. Yes, they got to make sure they throw the same amount of NIL money out there that Duke throws out there. But nevertheless, I just believe you have to be able to recruit against this man. Duke, North Carolina, that is, to me, the best rivalry is in sports. I love Duke, North Carolina. I'm rarely disappointed. Only the Matt Doherty era disappointed me. It was very lopsided. Outside of that, whether it was Krzyzewski and Dean Smith, whether it was Krzyzewski and Bill Guthridge, whether it was Krzyzewski and Roy Williams, now it's Schreier and Hubert Davis did take him to the national championship game, and they beat Duke in the Final Four, you know, his first year on the job. Duke, North Carolina is what it's about to me, Sean, but let me say this about Mike Malone. Mike Malone can coach. Mm-hmm. Mike Malone knows basketball. Yeah. He did a hell of a job in Denver. I have no questions about Mike Malone, X's and O's. I have no question about his ability to motivate young players because whereas in the NBA, people can sit up there and say, eventually your voice gets old. Consider the fact that he was in Denver for 10 freaking years, okay? It wasn't like 2 years and he was gone. He was in Denver for 10 years. He won a championship. They were perennial contenders. They did their job, okay? He did his job. If your voice gets older with a bunch of multimillionaires that's getting paid $40, $50 million, that's not the same as dealing with kids who's trying to make it to the NBA to get that kind of bag, which means that even in the age of NIL and transfer portal stuff, Sean, you are still empowered as the head man of a college basketball program. And I'm saying that puts Mike Malone in a very good position because him being in control, now it's about his ability to motivate players, which he can do. It's about his ability to coach, which he can do. My only question is, can you recruit? That's my only question about it. If he can recruit, the question is, can you recruit? That's my only question about it. If he can recruit, UNC has something special on their hands because that man knows basketball. And he can coach basketball, and I'm happy for him.
So, Sean, I don't know if you heard him. I heard me. Were you surprised at all by this hire in Mike Malone going to North Carolina? Oh, okay, so Farney can't hear, so we're going to further discuss this. I know we talked about how North Carolina likes to hire from within the family, and so this is why it feels like it kind of came from left field.
It did.
But being that his daughter does play volleyball there, and he's been around the program, and he's been around Chapel Hill, doesn't this feel like kind of in the family?
No. Okay. It ain't in the family because your daughter's a student playing volleyball.
You're invested in the university.
That's not, yeah, I understand that, but that's not the same. That's not the same as somebody, Hubert Davis played for the University of North Carolina. Roy Williams was an assistant there, somebody that they clamored for years. Originally had turned down the job before they went back to Kansas and got him to come from Kansas there, okay? You know, Guthridge was somebody that had been on Dean Smith's bench for a long time before succeeding Dean Smith. So we have to remember all of those things, okay? You go outside the family, and here's the uniqueness about North Carolina, and this is what we have to raise our proverbial eyebrow about. They now have 2 champions on the pro level coaching their program.
Belichick,
you got Bill Belichick in football. You got Mike Malone in basketball. Let's hope that Mike Malone's going to have better results than Bill Belichick had in North Carolina
in his first year.
But we ain't ruling out it's Bill Belichick. So we're going to have hope that it'll get better. But in the end, when you look at Mike Malone, they went outside the program. They should have given Jerry Stackhouse a look, one would argue. He coached at Vanderbilt, been an assistant coach with Golden State Warriors right now. I said Kenny Smith. You could bring up other names. But if you're going to go outside the program, you can't look at Michael Malone and think it's a problem. No. It's not a problem.
Speaking of tacticians, when we talked about Danny Hurley, this is a very tactical coach. We heard from Pete Thamel. That was a big reason why they went after him. What do you think of the hire, Farney?
I think it's a great hire, and I think that obviously they did their due diligence. They talked to Tommy Lloyd, they talked to Dusty May, trying to get in there and see what they could do. But then they had to make a move, and they had to make it pretty quickly with the transfer portal opening up as of midnight last night. And they got a guy that I was fortunate enough to spend some time with just on the Elite Eight weekend, watching some of these NCAA tournament games out in Los Angeles when NBA Countdown was done for about 35 minutes. His acumen of not only what's going on at the NBA level, but also understanding the new college landscape, I think is elite. And I think people are going to find that out really quickly. And you talk about finding players. Is there a place in the world that Mike Malone can't go to and immediately open up a door to recruit a player to North Carolina? There isn't. And because of that, he's going to be able to go internationally. He's going to be able to, with that brand power behind him in the ACC, I think you're going to see it flip very quickly for North Carolina, and that they're going to be very relevant, especially at the offensive end with his tactical abilities at that end of the floor. We see in college basketball now, we talk about Dusty May off the top and how quickly he turned things at Michigan. You can look at Ryan Odom this year. You can go look at Coach Lucas at Miami. You can look at, John Shire's sustained success. You can look at Pat Kelsey at Louisville. The ACC is kind of having like a little bit of a rebirth right now with coaches that are able to come in and ignite their fan base. And I get it. If you're a North Carolina fan and you have some hesitancy about it because of Bill Belichick, let me remind you, this man's 54 years old. He is not Bill Belichick. He's got the fire, he's got the passion and the energy to help this program out and get them on the right path very quickly.
Listen, he and I worked together last year. I'm doing NBA Countdown.
Malone,
we worked the playoffs together, and I've known him for years. But he's a hell of a coach, and he's a hell of a basketball mind. And these players, when you talk about coming to North Carolina and you have aspirations to get to the next level, he's qualified to judge your capabilities and to prepare you for what's coming down the pike as well. So, again, I think it's an exceptional hire by North Carolina. My only concern is that you're recruiting, because we need to understand, and Sean knows that I'm right about this when I say this. Hubert Davis, one could easily argue it ain't North Carolina who fired him. It's Duke who fired him. Mm-hmm. Because John Schreier has been so successful in his 4 years at Duke. Yes, he has not won a national championship, but the man has answered the call with 30-plus wins over the last 2 years, 27 wins in each of his first 2 seasons. The man is winning basketball games and recruiting All-Americans to come to his program. Now, Hubert got Caleb Wilson last year, got 2 All-Americans coming in this year. But the bottom line is you've got to be able to compete with Duke. It can't be Duke as the #1 team in the nation and you number 17th. It can't be Duke winning 85% of these games and you winning 67, 68% of your games. That's a nice number under normal circumstances. This is the ACC. This is Duke, North Carolina. Understand that. Not NC State, not Virginia, not Clemson and all. Duke, North Carolina. That's the measuring stick. And when Duke is here, which they almost always are, you can't be here and you're going to be looked upon in a positive light. So Mike Malone, if I gave him one piece of advice, it's this. Look 8 miles up the road, towards Cameron Indoor Stadium and that Duke campus, and make sure that you are nip and tuck with them, going back and forth with them, competing on every. I don't give a damn if you compete for the same meals at a restaurant. You compete for breakfast. I don't care what it is. Understand, they cannot have a consistent edge over you. Because if it is, they're going to find another coach.
Well, it'll be an uphill climb for Michael Malone, because right now the odds-on favorite to win the Natty next year is Duke.